SoloMoms Talk was designed to curate the stories of solo moms globally. As a facilitator of this platform, I aim to create a peaceful environment where you can share your heart, feel loved, and get the advice you need. So if this sounds like you, why not RSVP for our next virtual meetup? The link is below. It's where you can retreat from the chaos of your life so you can recharge, connect with other moms, and get answers to your burning questions. Remember, you're not alone and you don't have to parent in silence. My guest today is Tim McCarthy. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Sure. All right. We're going to talk about kids and their relationship with their parents. But before we get into what you do, I want to hear who you are. So just tell us about Mr. McCarthy.
All right. And in this day and age of misinformation and intentional disinformation, it's important to know who you're talking to.
Yes.
I've been an educator for over 40 years. I taught in the public and the private school system.
Okay.
I was also an administrator. And then I went into the martial arts full time and taught martial arts. And then as that developed, I went into advising other martial arts schools on how to better teach. With my background in education, a master's degree in education, I was a little more of an educator than most of the martial artists. So I was helping them become better teachers, not better fighters. And so one of the programs I was instrumental in popularizing is, if you've ever seen these signs around town, after school martial arts. We popularized that program, and I added a lot of educational value to it. So that's where I come from. And now I've gone beyond that, and I'm reaching out to the average mom, our single moms out there, our solo moms, to help them raise their children a little bit better.
Oh, good. Thank you for that. We need all the help we can get. And I remember when my boys were younger, they went to karate class. You know how it is. So I saw the benefit of that. It had a good influence on them. So thank you for doing that for the community.
All right. And what I set out to do now that I've retired is take that experience and help solo moms and married moms to raise their children a little bit easier, a little bit better. Most parents complain that, oh, I've got this wonderful baby. It's beautiful. Where's the owner's manual? What do I do with it? And so I set out to give them the owner's manual for the baby and look at it not just from an academic educational standpoint, because that's what schools do, but from 4 dimensions, which is the physical dimension, the mental dimension, the emotional dimension, which is not often taught, and even the spiritual dimension, because whether you're religious or not, I believe you have a spirit and a spiritual side, and just a question of what you choose to do with it. And even if you're not religious, I would still think you believe in right and wrong. And so moral education is very important for your child.
Yes. So the whole man.
Yes. So that's what I've done. I've started with prenatal care because I remember when I was in my teens and early 20s, and I thought I knew a whole lot, but I really didn't. And I've learned so much more. So I tried to make it available for pregnant moms, and even some notes for the father, whether he's husband or not, as to how to treat the mom to take care of the baby. Because once you have a baby, it's not about you anymore.
Right.
Now it's about the baby. Okay. And if you're the husband, it's about taking care of the mom so she can take care of the baby while it's still in her. Right. And then, of course, when it comes out, there's a whole range of things you can do with infants. There's a separate chapter on toddlers, preschoolers, children, preteens when we start getting crazy, and then the teenage years, which are really wild. And what I did was I spent a couple of years researching the latest science on what's happening to the brain, things I didn't know when I was 20. What's a 2-year-old brain going through? Why can't he stop? When I say stop, why can't he stop? His brain doesn't work that fast. If you ever throw a ball to a 2-year-old, it bounces off his nose, hits the floor, and then his hands come together. His brain is that slow. So when you say stop, it could take him 10 steps to even realize what you said. Then he's got to try to do what you say.
Oh.
So that's the first step to me, is you understand where the brain or how the brain is working at that age. And then I break it down physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But then what I learned from the martial arts is, okay, if somebody grabs your wrist, this is how you get away. Now let's practice that. Okay, I don't just show you and hope you remember it. We practice it over and over and over again. And so what I did is I've got over over 400 activities, some physical, some mental, some spiritual, some emotional, to practice with your kids, basically games, to help them develop in that area appropriate for their age.
Oh, so basically you help parents, you show parents how to understand their children better at
Correct.
different stages and focusing on the 4 different dimensions of the human being, right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And so I look on Facebook a lot of times, and there's mothers saying, "Help me this, help me that," and a lot of times it's, well, first of all, you have to understand how your child is thinking, what he's going through, and one basic rule that most moms can relate to: why does he keep disobeying? Why does he keep pushing the boundary? I told him not to do that. Why does he do that? And it shows up in a toddler throwing food on the floor or touching it and wiping it all over his face. Why does he do that? Because he's a scientist. He's experimenting.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't know what happens if he pushes it off. Oh, and it fell on the floor. If I push it again, will it fall again? And so he's learning what happens. And then if he pushes it on the floor and mom goes, oh, blah, 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 that was fun. Let's do that again. And so you have to understand that it's his job to push the boundaries. And it's your job as the mom to enforce the boundary and say, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
But you have to do it in a way that his brain will understand. And at 2 years old, he doesn't understand much explanation. You can talk yourself blue in the face and it's just going right through because he just doesn't get it. So it has to be very, very simple.
Yeah.
When you get a teenager, it's totally different. Now they start, well, what would happen? And one of my favorite things to do with teenagers is to ask questions. And if you remember when you were a teenager getting a lecture, boop, turn it off. Yeah. I'm thinking of my favorite song, but I'm not listening to you.
Right.
Whereas if you engage in what's called the Socratic method, Socratic questioning, named after Socrates, the great Greek philosopher, and ask him questions. Why'd you do that? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think would happen? Well, I didn't really think about it. Shouldn't you think about it? And then try to, just question upon question and get them to think about what they did, think about the consequences, and like showing them that this is how you make decisions. You think about what you're doing and you think about consequences. And it won't work the first time, but slowly they get the idea and they're old enough at that point to understand other people's feelings. Well, didn't you think that would hurt your little sister if you said that? Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess it might. So what do you think you should do about it? I guess I could apologize. Okay, good idea. When it comes from his mouth, it's a lot easier to do than when it comes from me lecturing him.
Right. I'm excited to share that SoloMoms Talk is now on YouTube. Check out these interviews on our new channel, SoloMoms Talk TV. There you will actually see the interaction between myself and my guests. You will also find bite-sized clips of daily inspiration to help you manage the struggles of everyday life. So click SoloMoms Talk TV below to watch now. It's an interesting take, but one that makes a lot of sense, and it could save solo moms so much hassle and struggle if we understand the concept you're teaching, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And one simple thing, if I may interject, at like 3 and 4, they want to argue about everything. And a simple thing is stop talking. If you don't argue back, it ends the argument. Okay? Now at 16, they may jump in the car and drive away. It's a different thing. But 2 and 3 years old, they're trying to figure out the rules.
Yeah.
And they want to, they become lawyers. They want to, okay, well, if this is the rule, why can't I do that? Why can't I? And that's great that they think that way. But the more you argue, the more they want to argue. Sometimes the answer is just stop arguing.
Wow. That's awesome. That's pretty powerful. Simple but powerful.
Lots and lots of pieces of advice like that, again, appropriate for their ages. And I've spent my whole life as a teacher, so I've tried to take that experience and the research I did, simple it, make it easy, make it available to everybody. And here's one thing I'm really proud of. First of all, I don't ask a lot of money for the book. It's less than $5 for the download. Okay, but if you are not sure you want to do that, if you're not sure you can afford it, you're in tough shape because you're a solo mom and you haven't got extra money, you can get, right now, I've got a sale going on, you can get the chapter for your child for under $1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Generous.
I'm not looking to get rich. I'm looking to help people.
Right. So tell us more about the book. Seems like you have it geared towards the lifeline of childhood. So explain a bit more and tell us the name of it as well.
Okay, so it's called Raising Four-Dimensional Children in a Two-Dimensional World. And I'll put in the plug here. If you want to get it, it's at 4D, as in four dimension, 4D-2D.com. If you don't put in the dash, you're going to end up in China somewhere. That's just the way the internet works. So 4D-2D.com. But it's designed, as I said, for the owner's manual for your child. From prenatal all the way through adolescence till 18 and they're out the door, I've got the information you need, and it's easy to follow, easy to get. And so I'm just trying to reach out to the solo moms, to the married moms, even to the dads who don't even have any idea how to be nice to their kids because they got beat when they were kids and that's how they think they should be raised.
Yeah,
I'm trying to create eye-opening, fresh ideas to help parents be a little bit better.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. And I can see how it can benefit not just the child, but mom as well, parents, basically. Because as a mom who's raised 3 sons, sometimes it's just like you're living with a stranger.
What is he thinking?
Yeah, did I really raise him? Something like that. But yeah, so thank you. I'm cutting here. What is Tim grateful for today?
I am grateful to be alive, first of all, because over 800,000 of us have not made it through this pandemic. And politics aside, I would rather be alive than dead. And
Amen
so
to
I'm
that.
doing whatever I can for me and my family to stay alive. We're being careful. If I'm wrong about something, at least my mistake is on the safe side and not on the dangerous side.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for my family, my parents who are no longer with us, who taught me what it's like to raise good children, because I think they did a good job with me and my brothers. And again, just thankful for everything I've got.
Yes, I appreciate you sharing. And one last piece of advice for the solo mom who is struggling with parenting right now.
My favorite piece of advice, especially for solo moms, is never take advice from somebody more screwed up than you. And you'll get it all the time because the people who know the least talk the most and talk the loudest. So try to get a hold of somebody who, and when I was young, I didn't believe this, somebody who's old, somebody who's been around, who's made some mistakes, somebody who knows, and learn what you can. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe me. Research, think about, argue about, but listen, learn as much as you can.
Amen. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. And Wick, I know you talk about the book, but also give us more information on how we could get in touch with you or we can connect with you on social and stuff like that.
Right. Again, the book 4D-2D.com. On social, I've got Tim McCarthy, and there's a bunch of us, but if you can see my face or just look for the one on my page, I've got the book as the first, it's pinned to the top. I also have discussion groups that are just starting, hardly anybody in them yet, at 4D Parents. And that's on Twitter. It's also on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. And who did I miss? Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 4D Parents.
Okay, and I put that stuff in the show notes so people could see that as well, and they could just click through.
Excellent. So hopefully we'll be hearing from your listeners. And if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. I'd love to talk to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim. This is quite useful, and I appreciate you coming and talking to me today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
Sure.
Just before we go, what are you grateful for today?
I am actually grateful that I am alive, one, and I'm alive at a time when I can appreciate my Savior more because when you're in the throes of mess in life, you kind of whine and complain. And I'm at the point now where I'm appreciating knowing God and knowing that He loves me the way He does. So,
The spiritual dimension. Wonderful.
Yeah.